next speaker we've lined up for you is Shea Hillenbrand. Some of you might know him already from a few years ago. Shea is a two-time Major League Baseball All-Star who played for the Boston Red Sox, Arizona Diamondbacks, Toronto Blue Jays, San Francisco Giants, Los Angeles Angels, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. At the height of his success, Shea found himself unhappy and unfulfilled, and he walked away from a $50 million offer and fell into a life of drugs, alcohol, and he almost lost it all. But by the grace of God, Shea found new life and a new hope, and he is currently on a mission to help business professionals, entrepreneurs just like you, and top performers develop their all-star life. Dream divers, get ready to design your all-star life with the one and only Shea Hillenbrand.
Are you ready to play? Are you ready to play? Get ready, the world's at your fingertips, there's nothing like this. Are you ready to play? Yeah, the future's today. Get ready, the world's at your fingertips. Are you ready to play? A new phenomenon is rising. Let the magic flow through your veins. Adrenaline running high, keeping the time.
So nice to be here. Didn't think I'd be here, but I am very blessed to have this opportunity. Actually, my wife and two daughters are in Anaheim right now. I live in Arizona for a cheer competition, so I'm a cheer dad right now. But it's a crisp April day in Boston, Massachusetts. Anybody from Boston? East Coast? Good. Okay. As I make my way up the dugout steps and onto the field of Fenway Park, the buzz of the crowd stirs a feeling inside myself that what I'm about to do has already been accomplished. This is a feeling that so many athletes, professional athletes, train an ungodly amount of hours for just to try to seek on a consistent basis. And us, the Boston Red Sox, are playing our arch enemy, the New York Yankees. Yankee fan? Okay, you're West Coast, so I didn't know if it's like the Yankee hat. And the all-time greatest closer, Mariano Rivera, is on the mound. Anybody know Mariano Rivera? The greatest closer ever in baseball. It's the ESPN game of the week. This is just not any game. And as I'm in the on-deck circle, I'm going through my pre-flight checklist like a fighter pilot does before he launches his high-performance jet into combat. When do I start? Read the pitch and react. So you have to have a systematic process to be able to perform at a high level in front of millions of people and fail. So as I make my way to home plate, I hear my name bellowing through the center field speakers. Now batting, number 29, Shea Hillenbrand. And I have nothing but pure confidence permeating through my veins. I've been in this situation time and time again. When I was a kid dreaming, I'd be in the backyard in LA, Arcadia. I'm from Arcadia. And I'd sit there, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded, World Series, from 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. And I'm living out this dream in real time in front of millions of people on ESPN. I'm stepping in the batter's box. I have my approach set. Mariano Rivera has a cutter, a small pitch that cuts just about that much or this much. He has one pitch. And I'm going to get a pitch out over the plate. I'm going to drive it into right center field. I'm going to score the guy in second base, Manny Ramirez, and we're going to tie up the game, and the crowd's going to go crazy, all because of what Shea Hillenbrand did. So I step in the batter's box for my first pitch, and he releases it at 94 miles an hour. It's on the inside corner. He startles me. I jump back. I'm like, oh my gosh. My approach, I have to throw that out the window. So as you guys are going to pursue your dream or whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever approach you have to be malleable. You have to be able to make an adjustment on the fly, guys, because it doesn't, isn't that like a rap song, on the fly, guys? You have to be able to move. You have to be able to go from one place to the next. You don't know what's going to happen. But us as Major League Baseball players, we have to do it in real time in front of everybody as a fan's either screaming or booing and tell you suck, depending where you're playing. So I was like, okay, I'll adjust my approach. 2 pitches later, he throws another pitch on the inside corner. And it was a ball. See, us as major league hitters, we know what's a ball, what's a strike. We have a really keen eye, and we know what's going to happen. But it's all up to the umpire behind us. So as I step out of the batter's box, the umpire calls it a ball. And Jorge Posada, the catcher, proceeds to throw the ball back to the pitcher, Mariano Rivera. And if you guys ever watch, anybody baseball fans in here like watching baseball? If you ever watch a Major League Baseball game, you see a catcher facing the field. He has his head turning to the side. He's doing one thing and one thing only. What do you guys think he's doing? Signaling the pitcher? No, he's cussing out the umpire. If you're not showing up the umpire, you can say a lot to the umpire. Come on, Mariano, need this bleeping pitch. Are you flipping kidding me? This is ridiculous. And I'm standing outside the batter's box. I'm like, Mariano doesn't need this pitch. I need this pitch. Like, he's one of the all-time greatest pitchers ever, and I'm 1 year removed from being a rookie. I need this pitch. So I figured out his approach. Two pitches later, the count's 2-2. I'm living and dying on my approach. That's the next thing I want to teach you guys, is that you have to live and die on the approach you have. Whatever decision you make, you got to commit to it 100% and not worry about what the result might be. But when you commit to your approach and your decision that you make 100%, you give yourself the best chance to compete on top of the world. It says, Mariano rears back. I'm focusing on three things and three things only, guys. When do I start? Read the pitch and react. As he releases the pitch, I see a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the inside corner, and I make contact with his pitch out front of the plate. I instantly see the ball sailing over the green monster into the net. This is 2002, before they had the seats on top of the monster at Fenway Park. I take 2 steps out of the batter's box, and I pump my fist. Yeah! Not because I was pimping, not because I was celebrating, but I was more surprised than anybody in that stadium. Because what I just did, no Red Sox player has ever done. I just felt like David beating Goliath. I'm rounding first base, and the ground's shaking. The stadium's built at the turn of the century. I thought the stadium was going to collapse. The Fenway faithful are going nuts. I just put us ahead with a game-winning home run in the 8th inning. And as I come back to home plate, I was in disbelief. But I had trained for this moment day in and day out, countless hours. You never know what's going to happen, guys. When you have an opportunity, you have a situation, it's all in how you prepare for that moment. What are you doing behind the scenes? What are you doing in the moments if nobody's looking? What are you doing when everybody tells you that you're crazy, that you're stupid, that you shouldn't be able to do this? Your dream's nuts. Your dream's insane. My teammates that night went out and celebrated with arguably the best fans in baseball. What did I do? I went home, straight to my house. I didn't give myself a chance to celebrate. I didn't give myself a chance to relish in the moment. I didn't give myself a chance to understand what I had just done. The first Red Sox player to ever hit a game-winning home run off of Mariano Rivera at Fenway Park. And the next day I woke up, guys, that pain inside myself was still there. See, I've been a top performer pretty much my whole life. But in 5th grade, I was that kid in the back of the room. Mr. Murphy was our teacher. In the back of the room, Mr. Murphy said, okay, we're going to dream today, guys. We're going to dream, and we're going to dream big. What do you guys want to do when you grow up? I'm vigorously raising my hand. In the back of the room, pick me, pick me, pick me. He's like, all right, Shea, what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to play Major League Baseball, and I'm going to own a zoo. That's exactly what my classmates did. They laughed at me. Mr. Murphy's like, okay, Shea. I said, what do you mean? That's what I'm going to do. I don't care what you guys say. I'm going to play Major League Baseball, and I'm going to own a zoo. But what happened is I fast forward a few years later, and I'm 14 years old, and I'm sitting on my bed, and my dad walks into my room. It's right before I'm going to high school. I'm in 9th grade, going to sophomore year of high school, Arcadia, California. This is so funny. It's the first time I've told this story in Southern California. And my dad drops a bombshell on me. He says, son, we're moving out of state. We're moving. I was like, what? Stunned. Devastated. How could you move me when, like, the formative years of my life? I'm going from 9th grade, which is junior high, into high school, and the only things I have is 2 things, my friends and community of sports, because I don't have an identity of who I am, because I don't know who I am. I have this pain and this emptiness inside myself that resonates. So the story I tell myself when my dad left the room that day, I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. My dad doesn't love me. How can he uproot me from all my friends? How can he take me at this pivotal point in my life? See, the perspective, guys, I formed from that day, from that story I told myself, from that experience, ultimately breaks me. So as I reluctantly left all my childhood friends, I decided to become an overachiever through athletics. Not to get to the big leagues, not to play Major League Baseball, not to be on varsity, not to go to a college. It's to get the love and admiration and proof of love from my father. So what happens, guys, is I take you on this journey over the next 30 minutes. I want you guys to maybe think about the stories that have led you to where you are today. Because it's going to make or break your dream of what you're telling yourself on a daily basis. In high school, became the #1 soccer player in the state of Arizona. We used cactus as goalpost, because there's not really anything in soccer back then, like Southern California. And my childhood dream was to play Major League Baseball. But I had no opportunity to play Major League Baseball anywhere after high school. Matter of fact, I had chances to go play in Europe to play soccer, and I had chances to play at universities to play soccer. But growing up in LA as a diehard Dodger fan, I always wanted to play Major League Baseball. Sitting at the third deck of Dodger Stadium since 8 years old, 9 years old, and 10 years old, I'd always sit there and say, I'm going to play in that field someday. See, you guys have to manifest your dream on your own. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter where you are in your journey. You have to manifest it on your own. You actually have to make it become tangible. You have to use your senses, engage your senses. I'd sit at the top of the stadium, and I'd hear the crack of the bat. I'd feel the roar of the crowd, and I'd smell the grass. And I'd always imagine an announcer announcing my name. Now batting, number 29, Shea Hillenbrand. And then I'd go home at night, and I'd lay in my bed. And what I'd do then is I just manifest that. I just visualize it over and over and over and over. So whatever that dream is, whatever that vision you guys have right now, you have to manifest that by using visualization. I'd sit there and I imagine myself cashing $1 million paychecks. I'm not talking about the movie The Secret because I don't like that. But I'd sit there and be on TV or see myself on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, Hillenbrand 2 for 4 or whatever that might be. And I always imagine myself being on a Major League Baseball field. See, our minds can't discern the difference between imagination and reality. You have to go out there and take control of what you're trying to achieve. So I walk on at the local junior college, and the only reason I made the team is because of my work ethic. I was the first guy there, the last guy to leave every single day. After my sophomore year of college, playing junior college, I became the #1 baseball player in the state of Arizona at shortstop. How does that happen? Relentless work ethic. When everybody else quit, I just kept going. When everybody else was in that position of saying it's too hard or they're too sick or they're too tired or it's too hot in Arizona, because it gets hot in Arizona in the summer, I just kept going. I took control of my mind, and I didn't let my mind do anything but do what I told it to do. And I just went in the batting cage, and I just mastered that craft every single day. I didn't know what I was doing. So many of us here right now might not even know what we're doing with our dream, with our vision, with our purpose or our calling. But I went in, and I just put the repetitions in. I just went out there, and I worked. See, when you do that, you put yourself in a position to master the skill sets. Whatever that might be within whatever you're trying to achieve, you have to master those skill sets because skill sets have utility. Once you master those skill sets, you deploy those skill sets, and you go out there and just learn from that. So I get drafted by the Red Sox. My dream's starting to manifest. At 20 years old, I tell all my friends and family I got drafted by the White Sox. I had no idea what team I got drafted by. Could you imagine that at 20 years old, like your childhood dream? I had no. My friends were like, dude, like really? Like you got drafted by the Red Sox, like one of the most prestigious organizations. It's crazy, like 1918 World Series, Yankees, it's a nation, 6 states. Like, wait. I grew up a Dodger fan. The consistency of a Dodger fan in the 1980s, guys, is you show up in the 3rd inning, you leave in the 7th, you beat traffic, listen to Vince Scully on the radio. That's the consistency of a Dodger fan. And number 2, guys, listen up. Number 2, I don't give a darn what Sox it is. I'm going to the big leagues. I don't care what it is. I'm going to the top. You have to make that commitment. You have to tell yourself. And everybody laughed at me. All my friends didn't want to be friends with me anymore because I was living their dream. See, the higher you go, the more success you have. Like you have to be obsessed with what you do. And I was on the fast track of my dream of playing Major League Baseball. So I report to my first season of minor league baseball as a shortstop. First 10 games, I make 14 errors. I don't know if you guys know anything about baseball, but 14 errors is really bad. But I was hitting the cover off the baseball. Manager came up to me and he says, hey, do you want to play a different position? Do you want to play first base? Yes, please, get me the heck out of here. I'm not going to play shortstop, go to the big leagues. Right there, guys, I wanted to be a big league shortstop when I got drafted. You have to allow yourself to change direction. You don't know what's going to happen, guys. God's going to lead you to where he wants you to go, and you have to have that end goal in mind with what you're trying to achieve, but you have to be able to be malleable, guys. I'm talking to the men right now. You can't be so stubborn and set in your child. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do it like this. And if it doesn't happen like this, it's going to re-ingrain my limited beliefs, and I'm going to use that as a reason not to pursue my dream because everybody around me thinks I'm crazy. So I start playing first base and third base, and I get Player of the Year. My first year playing professional baseball. I got my award at Fenway Park on the field, and you know how I celebrated, guys? Went home and quit. I walked away. I convinced myself I'd just come home and just be the manager of the bookstore, the local textbook store right across the street from the college I went to school to. Everything would be great because what they don't tell everybody is when you go play professional baseball, 90% of players want to quit after the first week. That's how bad it is. If you do any research about minor league baseball, it is very treacherous. First time away from home, you're not with your family, friends, you're homesick. It sucks. I call up the minor league director and I say, hey, I'm quitting. He's like, what are you talking about? He says, you have all the makings to become a Major League Baseball player and make millions of dollars playing baseball in the big leagues. I said, I don't care. I'm coming home. And he says, if you ever want to come back, come back. I'm slinging textbooks. I'm on the fast track to go to a convention to become the textbook manager of the store. I'm learning the POS systems. I'm slinging textbooks right and left. I'm hooking up all my friends at the textbook store, giving them free textbooks. It was crazy, but if I just franchise this textbook store, I can do this, and I can live my dream this way because it's hard. See, so many times we run from what we've been called to do, but if you wake up every day and that dream or that vision doesn't leave you, it's been given to you specifically to go out there and impact what you're trying to achieve. So I'm driving home from the textbook store one night, 2 weeks after spring training started, and a voice came into my head, luckily, and it says, dude, what are you doing? Get your butt back on the baseball field. I called the minor league director that night at 3 in the morning, and I said, hey, can I come back? He's like, yes. Put me on the next flight the next day. I'm in Florida from Arizona at the spring training site. I showed up before the sun came up. I haven't done anything baseball-wise, nothing. All I've been doing is slinging textbooks. I don't know if you know anything about baseball, you got to get your arm in shape. So before anybody came to the field, I'm against the wall, throwing a ball against the wall, mastering the skill sets, getting back into shape, level 1. I go out that next year and I get Player of the Year. And 2 years after that, I'm in Double A. I'm taking you guys in this journey because there's no fast track, guys. There's no easy road. There's no quick fix. It's putting in the work, it's committing to what you're doing, and doing what you need to do. I'm in Double A as a catcher now because I couldn't cut it at first or third base. They don't want me to catch. I'm on a fast track. 2 weeks later, they were going to send me to the major leagues from Double A. July 4th, in Double A, I get a pop-up next to the dugout, and I run back to the on-deck circle. I look down to see where the wall is. I look back up to see where the ball is. The wind had blown the ball to my left. All I had to do is just plant this foot, put my hand out and catch it like that. Easy, done it a million times. Plant my foot, blow out my ACL on my right knee. Done. I don't know if you guys know anything about ACL recovery. It's a 7-month rehab. Season's over instantly. I went home, had two choices. Either sit there and complain about it or put my nose down and work my tail off on it. So I was stubborn. I'm going to the big leagues. I don't know what anybody else is doing. I'm going to the big leagues. So I flew to Boston to have surgery. They said I'm going to spend the whole off season in Florida at the spring training site because it's a 7-month rehab. And I'll be lucky to be ready to play for the next season by the time spring training breaks after 5 weeks of spring training. I said, not going to happen. I'm going to go to Florida for 1 month. I'm going to go home for the rest of the off season. I'm going to show up by the time spring training starts, and I'm going to win Player of the Year next year again. They said, you're crazy. I took off, and I drove home. I got two 2x4s, put them together 8 foot long, and I did exercises in my kitchen. I went behind the high school at 3 in the morning throwing balls against the wall. The police officer comes up, says, "What are you doing here?" Thought I was breaking into school. I said, "What do you mean? I'm pursuing my dream. The only way I'm going to get there is when everybody else is sleeping. I got to get out here working." So he says, "You can't be here, police officer, because it's a school. You have to go somewhere else." Now I'm behind Circle K, 7-Eleven, throwing a medicine ball against the wall with the bums next to me, cheering me on. See, it doesn't matter where you guys are. You have to be able to do what you need to do, or else you're not going to achieve what you've been called to do. When everybody else says you're crazy, when everybody else wants to give up, when everybody else tries to put their limiting beliefs on you guys, you have to go out there and say, "No, this is what I've been called to do. This is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do everything relentlessly to pursue it." Because you have the pain of regret of not pursuing it, laying in your bed at night wishing you did do it because it's been given to you, or you had the pain of pursuing it and putting the work in of what you've been called to do. Next year, I went out, was playing third base, couldn't play catcher, and I won Player of the Year again. And I broke the league record in hits. So now I'm going to spring training the next season in the major leagues from a minor league player as a catcher again. So I go from third to catch, third to first to third to shortstop to left field. See, doesn't matter. Whatever you guys have to do to get there, you get there. I'm in spring training as a catcher. This is where I want you guys to pay attention. See, you have to behave like whatever you're trying to achieve. I go to spring training as a minor league baseball player. I want to be a major league baseball player. So I showed up to spring training and I behaved like a major league baseball player. You have to behave like what you're trying to achieve, guys, because your behavior will come in front of your talent, your ability, your emotions, your feelings, all that stuff. You have to behave. You have to take that action every single day. I showed up and I observed. I watched what the guys were doing and what the guys weren't doing. I behaved like I belonged there. And I focused on 3 things. The first thing I focused on, guys, that you guys need to focus on is your health. You have to focus on your health. If you're not healthy, if you're not in a position with your body to do things that you need to do, you're not going to be able to pursue it. 3 simple things you guys can focus on with your health is how you sleep. You got to get your sleep, how you eat, and exercise. Simple as that. Everybody's different. Get your sleep, be careful what you eat, and then exercise. Then I only competed against myself. The second thing is when at the Major League Baseball camp, I competed against myself. I can't compete against all these other guys because they're so much better than me. I don't even know what I'm doing there, but I competed against myself. And the last thing is, guys, I created resilience. You have to create resilience. If you want to get to where you want to go, you have to create resilience. You have to be resilient with what you're trying to achieve. If you want to learn how to fail, learn from a Major League Baseball player. We fail every day, all day long, in front of the world. Write this down real quick, guys. 4 simple things to navigate failure and to put you in a position to go where you need to go. The first thing that you have to do when you fail is you have to get back to your emotional center ASAP. You have to get back to your center ASAP. When we fail, it gives us a negative emotion. That emotion stirs a chemical in our body, and that chemical drives us crazy. And usually that turns into anger, frustration, whatever that might be. It gets us off track. And then it ingrains those limited beliefs. You have to get back to your emotional center ASAP. When I ground out as a hitter, or if I strike out in a big situation, man, it's no good. I have to be able to get back to my emotional center ASAP. The second thing you guys need to do is you have to analyze that failure. If I'm going to use a baseball analogy, if I failed at the plate, did I swing at a strike? Was I on time? What kind of pitch was it? Was my timing perfect? How was I relaxed? You have to analyze that failure. The third thing you need to do is formulate a plan for that failure that you analyze. You have to formulate a plan. And the fourth thing, deploy it. First thing is, you have to get back to your emotional center. So many people are 90 seconds away from a breakthrough in their life, 90 seconds away from accomplishing your dream. But when that failure happens, it stimulates a thought, and that thought gets us down this rabbit hole of I'm not good, I'm not supposed to do it, I can't do it. Those other guys can do it, I can't do it, I'm not good. You have to get back to your emotional center ASAP. Analyze that failure, formulate a new plan, and then you have to deploy it. So many of us allow that failure to define who we are. You have to allow it to refine who you are. Refine means growing into what you've been called to do. So I created resilience when I went to Major League Baseball. Got down to the very last day. The bench coach came up to me, and he says, "Son, the skipper needs to see you." See, the bench coach is the liaison between the manager and the players. The manager never talks to the players directly. He always has his bench coach, his assistant, talk to him. I walked in the manager's office. I was like, man, I'm so proud of myself. I made it all the way through the last day of spring training. And, man, I'm going to go back down to AAA. I'm going to be a starting catcher in AAA. I'm going to rock it. I'm going to show them how I'm supposed to do it. I'm going to get called up or maybe make the major league team the next year. I walk into the office. The manager says, congratulations, son. You made this team. I was like, what? Ashton Kutcher over here? Like, am I getting punked? Like, how did I make this team? It's a $120 million payroll. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, my dream's true. See, if you just behave like you're supposed to behave, guys, if you just go out there and put your head down and work on your health and work on competing against yourself and work on creating that resilience and don't let anybody deter you and spin you off, you never know what could happen. Here I am, the first guy to come to the major leagues from AA for the Boston Red Sox in 30 years. All I was trying to do was just make the next level. So when you put your head down and you master what you're supposed to do, you never know what's going to happen. God will accelerate everything in your life. So if you guys don't know, spring training ends, you have 2 exhibition games, and then you go off to play your first game of the season. Our first exhibition game, we're leaving Fort Myers, Florida. We're flying to Houston to play the Astros. We're going to Cincinnati to play the Reds, and then we're going to open up in Baltimore. So I go to the hotel in Houston. Man, Ritz-Carlton. I've never been in a Ritz-Carlton before. I go to put my room key in the door, and there's a doorbell, just in case that if I'm on the other side of the room in the bathroom, the room's so big that I couldn't even hear the door. I have a doorbell in my room, and this is the big leagues? Like, I jump on the bed like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, like, I'm in the big leagues! Yeah! Woo! This is amazing! I go to the ballpark 4 hours early the next day. The only people that go to the ballpark 4 hours before you're supposed to be there are the trainers, rehabbers, and pitchers getting ready for what they're supposed to do. So I walk into the clubhouse. See, what you guys need to understand, when you're a minor league baseball player going to spring training, you have a high number. I was number 71. And when you're a major leaguer, you have a low number, like a real number that's in a team environment for baseball. And I walk in, and the clubhouse, head clubhouse, Mr. Hillenbrand, welcome to the big leagues. It's like the Taj Mahal. I walk into the clubhouse, I see my locker, number 29. I run over real quick and I put on my uniform. And man, Major League Spring Training, they have a custom tailorer come in and get your measurements because every uniform is custom to you. So I put on my uniform 4 hours early. I got my glove. I'm sitting on my chair at my locker, and that same bench coach comes back over to me. Hey, son, the skipper needs to see you. I was like, gosh, dog it, man. I didn't even get 1 day in the big leagues. Are you going to send me down limited beliefs? I can't believe it. Just give me one at bat. I'm here. Why are you messing with my dream? I can't believe this. I walked the walk of death to the manager's office. I said, sir, he said you wanted to see me? Yes, son, sit down. So I sit down on a chair across from the manager's desk in the manager's office in Houston, get ready to play the Astros. He's like, I've been thinking about it a lot, and you're going to be my starting third baseman on opening day. I jump out of my seat real quick. I was like, thank you very much, sir. I walk out of there. I wasn't going to give him a second chance to change his mind. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, how am I going to do this? I don't even know how to play third. I'm a catcher. Don't they realize I had 14 errors in my first 10 games? And they were like, guys, it doesn't matter. So you have to focus on the input. So many of us focus on the output. You have to focus on the input of whatever you're trying to achieve with the skill sets, with whatever you are, whatever that is. Making yourself the best version of who you are every single day, relentlessly going. Even when you wake up and you don't want to do it. Even when you wake up and you don't feel good, just do something. Just take one step. Just keep moving. Just keep going. Because one day, you never know. You might be in the big leagues. I had no idea what I was doing. Opening day in Baltimore, I'm standing on the field. They announce the lineup. National anthem goes. I'm starting for the Red Sox. I have tears running down my face because I'm here. So, like, the classmates laughed at me in 5th grade. And the teacher said I was crazy. I'm here. But that pain, that pain inside myself. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. My dad doesn't love me. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. My dad doesn't love me. See, that story I told myself formed that perspective that I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. See, it drove me. I was able to use that pain to drive me to the top, but I was empty inside because not what God thought of me, not what anybody else, it's what I thought of myself. See, I quickly got into my own way. Playing 7 years in the major leagues. It's a two-time All-Star third baseman. Played in front of hundreds of millions of people. Made $20 million. Flying private jets. Not these little puddle jumpers. I have 3 mansions. I have 6 automobiles. See, when you're rich and you have an ego, you call them automobiles because you think you're better than everybody else. Not cars, I have automobiles. I have nice timepieces. I have 300 pairs of shoes. You guys think you got shoes? I had 300 pairs of shoes. Here I am on top of the world, with the president, rubbing shoulders with movie stars. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, J-Lo's in our clubhouse. All these, it's crazy, the life that I was living. I have everything, guys. Everything that you guys can imagine. Everything that you guys are trying to pursue. Everything that you guys envision of what it would be to be there. But I don't have fulfillment. I don't have peace. I don't know who I am. And I'm definitely not taking accountability for who I am. I don't have to. I mean, come on, guys. I have little girls in the stands holding up signs saying, "Will you marry me, Shea?" I'm doing autograph signings at a table just like this at a furniture store in Boston. I make $10,000 for 1 hour, signing 500 autographs only, and I have little girls coming to the table as I'm sitting there, crying and shaking just because they get to meet me. As if I'm like Justin Bieber or someone like that. I'm like, but they don't see that deep, deep pain resonating inside of me, fueling that pain-driven game. See, I have to put on that smile. I have to perform. I have to go out there because my identity is in what I do, because I'm being treated like a god. Everybody loves me. Everybody thinks I'm the best thing since sliced bread. You can see it on not that, but the highlights, all that, every day. I have everybody after me, wanting a piece of me just because of oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. But they don't know that. I'm flying to the 2005 All-Star game from Arizona, Chandler Airport in Arizona, to Detroit, Michigan, on the fastest civilian jet in the world. Citation 10 private jet. It's a 10-passenger jet going 640 miles an hour, 64,000 feet. To give you guys kind of an understanding, a normal commercial airliner goes at 35 to 40,000 feet, and it goes about 354 or 450 miles. I'm going 640 miles an hour. Going to my childhood dream, guys. Getting ready to play in front of 100 million people the next day. I don't have my entourage there. I don't have my wife there. I don't have my kids there. I have nothing to distract me. And after I put on my smile to the attendant in the terminal, the private terminal, and when I board the plane with the flight attendant, my personal flight attendant, and the two pilots, I'm smiling. How you guys doing? What's going on? Then I have to sit in my seat looking out the window. And when I'm looking out the window by myself with no distractions, this is all it is. This is what it's like living your dream. I hate everything about this. See, when you're up here having all the success and you have the emptiness inside of where you are, so many times that ego will come in and fill that void on the inside of yourself. And when that ego comes in and fills inside yourself, you could use that to get to the top, but you can't sustain with fulfillment. Ego stands for edging God out. Edging God out. So here I am, playing in front of millions of people, and I hate myself. So in the prime of my career, I make a decision proven to be the biggest decision of my life. I quit. I walked away. I walk away leaving $50 million of potential earnings on the table. I walk away from that one childhood dream. I was sitting in 5th grade, Mr. Murphy, I'm going to play Major League Baseball. See, I attached my identity to what I did, and I hated everything about that because I hated myself. I couldn't trust myself, so I always said I can't trust anybody else. I can't trust myself because I don't know who I am. And I convinced myself to come home to be a father to my 3 beautiful adopted children, and pursue my second childhood dream. I bought a zoo. Anybody seen the movie? That's me, behind the house. It's not based off me, ma'am. But that was me behind the building throwing up because I couldn't live that life. I purchased a 38-acre horse farm, $5 million horse farm. I accumulate, in Arizona, 300 farm and exotic animals. I had camels, kangaroos, llamas, alpacas, monkeys, raccoons. I had 2 800-pound Wilshire pigs, Taco Bell and Gilbert. I had a Holstein cow named Biggie Smalls, and I had to separate him from the miniature donkey named Tupac, because at night we had cameras, you saw him do coast-to-coast wars. Just kidding. I had a blind horse with a seeing-eye pony. I had a 3-legged goat named Trace. And I had a vision inside myself, just like the vision you guys have right now, of pursuing, that God put inside me. Rescue these animals and rehabilitate them with unconditional love and putting them in a petting zoo environment and name it against all odds. So I invited out inner city disabled and child crisis children. I had a train, I had everything. It was amazing. The transformations that happened at that zoo was superseded anything I ever did on this stuff for Major League Baseball. I could tell you story after story after story of what happened at that farm by putting these animals and these children together. But what I didn't realize is that I'm bound to find fulfillment now. I'm bound to find that success. I'm bound to get it. See, Major League Baseball didn't do it. The fame, the glory, the success, the money, everything, living that high life, the glory life, that didn't feel that void and that pain. But this has got to do it. Helping kids and helping animals, how can that not fill you up? But it didn't. I find myself at 3 o'clock in the morning on the floor of a van, 8 years ago, parked outside my ex-wife's house. Motionless. After overdosing on drugs and alcohol. I wasn't a drug addict, I wasn't an alcoholic. I was trying to run them and flee from that pain I felt that all you guys are experiencing as you pursue your dream. I was trying to get away from that because I couldn't figure it out. Here I am motionless on the floor of this van, and the thoughts going through my head, guys, is like, you're a loser. You're a failure. How can you lose all this money? How can you go from there to here to nothingness? 8 years ago, I was scrounging up change out of my cup holder just to feed my kids Little Caesars pizza. After bringing home $340,000 every 2 weeks after taxes, making $28,000 a day, I was scrounging up change out of my cup holder, trying to survive. As my children are going to school, telling all their friends that their dad played for the Diamondbacks because I live in Arizona. How do you process that as a man? How do you deal with that as a man? You're supposed to be providing. You're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be an example. I'm on the floor of this van. What would your parents think if you left this world today, Shea? What kind of dad would do this to his kids? I was parked outside my ex-wife's house, and my children were arm's distance away. Just inside that house, I was done. I was so tired of fighting that pain-driven game, guys, because my identity had become what I did. I let go. I don't know if I died or if I fell asleep. But by the grace of God, the sun peered through the front windshield of the van the next day, and it woke me up. And as I came to, I didn't have any side effects. No nausea, no headache, no stomach ache, no nothing. It was an aha moment. It was a divine moment. Because what I took the night before, the concoction of pills and alcohol, I should have either been dead or in a hospital. And I'm not proud of that. But I'm here to say that I've been through it. And shortly after that night in the van, I had to make 2 difficult decisions. The 2 most difficult decisions of my life. I had to take back control, and I had to own my life. And in order for you to pursue your dream, in order for you to enact your vision, you have to take control of who you are, and you have to own it right where you are right now. For me, I had to get little wins on top of each other. I had to stack little wins, just get into momentum. I had nothing left in my life 8 years ago. Nothing. And once I got into momentum, guys, because momentum is the key to life. Momentum, once you get into momentum, guys, like you will get rewarded. Once you keep moving, once you keep pursuing, once you push through those limited beliefs and those barriers of that nothingness that you go through, of all that stuff trying to keep you where you are, once you just keep moving one step at a time, not going from level 1 to level 10 or level 1 to level 7, going to level 1 and master level 1. For most of us, mastering level 1 is stop the bleeding. Let's stop doing the stuff that's holding us back. So I was stacking little wins on top of each other. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to try to design a new life. I was like, I can't live the life that I'm doing. I drive around with like, what's the purpose of life? I've done it all. I lived both my childhood dreams, not one, both. I said, I have to, and I call it the all-star lifestyle. And then through this process, after I got into momentum, strategic people came into my life, guys. I couldn't do it on my own. Big bad Shea Hillenbrand, treated like I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to do it because I sold my soul to what I did. So many of us sell out for what we do and we lose who we are through the process. And once I had strategic people come to my life, they did two things, guys. They provided me direction and accountability. And that's what I'm so grateful to be here right now to maybe pour into you and speak into you guys. Like, you have to have direction and you have to have accountability, or else you're not going to achieve what you're trying to achieve. And through that process, I discovered a deeper version of myself. I discovered who you see today. I didn't have a voice when I played Major League Baseball. You would think I did. I didn't. I had no idea. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even get up from the restaurant at the table to walk across the restaurant to use the restroom in fear of everybody staring at me. I said no self-worth, no self-esteem, no self-confidence. So if you're in that spot right now, I lived it on top of the world. And through that process, guys, I discovered 3 powerful principles I'm going to share with you. I want you guys to write this down. And if you guys live by this, this will be extremely impactful. The first thing I already said it, and it's the foundation of the MLB mindset. The MLB mindset, Major League Baseball, MLB mindset, is the foundation, the cornerstone of my life today, guys. The first M, the M is momentum. Like I said, you got to get into momentum. Momentum is the key to life. You will get rewarded, guys. You will get rewarded once you get into momentum. People will come into your life. It's happening to me right now. The people in the green room back there, the most amazing guys I've ever met, ever. And I've met a lot of people in my life. I don't know how they came into my life. It's because I got into momentum and just kept moving and kept pursuing that dream that God gave me. And that dream that God gave me is to use my voice to help other people find their voice. To help you guys understand your voice, your calling, your purpose, what you're trying to pursue. You need to get in momentum. The second thing, guys, is the L. L is leveraging your language. The most important conversation you'll ever have in your life is a conversation you have with yourself. Let me say that again. The most important conversation you'll ever have in your life is the conversation you have with yourself. Not with God, not with your spouse, not with your boss, not with your children, with yourself. Because that conversation you have with yourself is the foundation of who you are. We have to bust through those limited beliefs. We have to be aware of how we're communicating to ourselves, especially when we come to a failure. The last thing is, guys, belief. The most powerful force you'll ever have in life, the most powerful force is for you to stay congruent to what you believe to be true about yourself. These are 3 irrefutable laws, guys. We could argue religion, we can argue politics, we can argue pandemic. You can't refute these. The most powerful force in human nature is for you to stay congruent, for you to stay aligned with what you believe to be true about yourself. And your belief system about yourself is the thing that's going to hold you back from your dream. What do you believe to be true about yourself? What I want to leave with you guys today is the foundation of whatever you do. I want you guys to believe that you deserve the opportunity to go do what you've been called to do. You deserve it. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm living my dream life, my dream house, my dream wife, my dream, everything right now. And it had nothing to do with Major League Baseball. I thought I was supposed to play Major League Baseball. I thought that was my calling. I thought that was my what I was supposed to do. It's the furthest thing of what I was supposed to do. This is what I was supposed to do. Once you get into momentum, once you understand how to leverage that language, that conversation with yourself, and once you start believing in yourself, guys, believe in yourself. Take one action every single day. Create that belief system. You have to gain credibility with yourself. Nobody else. The one way you're going to get credibility with yourself is by keeping the promises to yourself. If you say you're going to wake up at 7 o'clock, wake up at 7 o'clock. Set that alarm clock and wake up at 7 o'clock. You're going to wake up at 7 o'clock and every part of your mind is going to tell you not to wake up. You can't do it. You're stupid. You're fat. You're ugly. You can't, whatever that is, you shouldn't be doing it. Go back to bed. You have to get up and you have to keep going. Keep that promise to yourself. If you say you're going to work a certain amount of hours on your business, if you say you're going to watch what you eat, say watch what you drink, whatever that might be, keep that promise to yourself. Once you keep that promise to yourself, guys, you'll start gaining credibility with yourself. You need promises and credibility with yourself to have a foundation to stand on, your belief system, because you guys deserve it. One thing I found through the whole process of everything I've been through in my life, and I hope you guys find, and I hope you guys have, is your smile. I found my smile. I got out of my own way, allowed God to work in me, and to use me. Man, I'm so honored to be here right now. I'm so honored for you guys to be a part of this. And thank you.
Come on, y'all. One more time. Let's make some noise for Shea.